3 and up over a mile and a 16th. And as the horses make their way on the track, it's time for the Zenyatta.
And we mentioned that Beholder went to the lead last time in the Clement Hirsch. Jerry pointed out that he doesn't expect either Beholder to go to the lead this time. You got Valdori in there with speed. Terrace Tango has speed.
I think they'll still be really close to each other, Beholder and Stellar Wind. I just don't think it's going to be first and second early. I think it's going to be more like third and fourth early. And since Beholder has an inside post relative to Stellar Wind, it's not far off the realm of possibility that Victor could be thinking, maybe I can trap Beholder in behind those front two and make his trip harder than it needs to be. But I mean, there's going to be a lot of jockeyship go on here the first 3/8 of a mile of this race, so it'll be interesting to watch the race within the race.
And our post parade is brought to you by the Daily Racing Form. And number 1 is Off the Road, twice a Group 1 winner in her native Brazil. She's 0 for 6 in the U.S., however. Like Beholder, trained by Richard Mandela, she was 4th in the Clement Hirsch. Number 2 is Beholder in the Spendthrift Farm colors. The champion mare, now 6 years old, has won 10 Grade 1 races. That's the top echelon. Nearly $5 million. That's second only to Zenyatta among females. And for the first time in her career, she's lost back-to-back races to Stellar Wind in the Hirsch and California Chrome in the Pacific Classic. She goes for her 4th straight win in the Zenyatta Stakes. Number 3, Valdori, has won or placed in stakes in her native Argentina, also in Dubai and the United States. Bob Baffert trains and Rafael Bejarano rides. Number 4 is Terrace Tango. She's won 3 of her last 4, including 2 Grade 1s, the Santa Maria and the Santa Margarita, trained for Barbara Banke's Stone Street Stables by the Hall of Famer Jerry Hollendorfer. Number 5 is Stellar Wind, last year's champion 3-year-old filly. She's raced only twice this year, both against Beholder. Second to her in the Vanity and winner of the Clement Hirsch. John Sadler trains and Victor Espinoza rides. That is the short but classy field for the Zenyatta. Let's go to Lafitte.
Humbled in the Rodeo Drive were both of us. But onward now to the Zenyatta here in this dream matchup. Beholder, Stellar Wind. Matt, is this a two-mare race?
I think it more or less is. I think Beholder is still the one that you got to give the upper hand to. I think the way that Jerry laid out the pace scenario is perfect. Sit just off Valdori, make the first move on Stellar Wind. I'm picking Beholder. The horse I'm most interested in going forward to the Breeders' Cup in a few weeks is Terrace Tango, because I think there's a very good chance she runs here, win or lose, and they turn her back to the Filly Mare Sprint, not the Breeders' Cup distaff.
Hollendorfer's other filly, Terrace Tango. Yeah, but I mean, Stellar Wind just beat Beholder. Are you surprised about the discrepancy in the wagering?
Yeah, a little bit. People go overboard early on. I think it's probably going to be a similar scenario to the California Chrome Dortmund situation, whereas we got closer to post time, things kind of leveled out a little bit. No mistake about it. Beholder will be the favorite, though.
What a matchup, Tom. Here, Stellar Wind, Beholder coming up in the Zenyatta, round 3.
All right, and Beholder now the 1-5 favorite, and Stellar Wind the second choice now at 3-1. Those are the 2 headliners for the Zenyatta Stakes. When we return, win and you're in.
I think he feels like that, but he'll have that opportunity today.
So into the starting gate, a compact field. They're going a mile and a 16th versus $300,000. There is the favorite, Beholder. And Gary Stevens into the starting gate. Valdori goes in. Then Terrace Tango.
And Stellar Wind.
And Stellar Wind on the outside. And with a call of the Zenyatta, here's Michael Roman.
2-5 for number 2, Beholder. 2-1, number 5, Stellar Wind. They're all in line. Valdori was acting up in gate 3, forcing Bejarano from the saddle. Terrace Tango getting a little stirred up next door. But now they look to be ready. Racing. Beholder and Terrace Tango win the start together from Stellar Wind, who's just livened up in those first few strides by Espinoza. He wants to be part of the early action too. Off the road is close handy on the inside of Valdori, and they vacate the home stretch covered by only 2 lengths. Beholder with her head in front of the 7/8 pole over Terrace Tango. Off the road right on the back of the champion mare, and Stellar Wind's out in the 3 path. At the rear is Valdori. 3/4 of a mile from home, and Beholder in front by a half length to Tara's Tango, and Stellar Wind moving up out 3 deep. 2.5 lengths to Vale Dory, sitting back off the speed. Off the road, drifting back 5th and last. They're at the 5/8 pole, and Beholder in search of her 4th consecutive victory in the Zenyatta Stakes. On top, 3/4 of a length from Stellar Wind, with Tara's Tango just losing a little bit of ground on the top pair, coming past the half-mile pole. Vale Dory 4th, and off the road, the long shot stablemate to Beholder, back 3 lengths last of all. 3/8 from home, Beholder by a half length. Stellar Wind is going to test her in the run around the far turn, moves up within a head. It's Beholder, Stellar Wind, as a burgeoning rivalry intensifies, reaching the top of the Santa Anita stretch, and Stellar Wind is on the outside of Beholder. They're together by 5 lengths to Vale Dory, then Tara's Tango. Beholder and Stellar Wind at the 3/16 pole are locked in a fierce struggle by 6 lengths to Vale Dory, past the 8th pole, and it's Stellar Wind on the outside, and Beholder, an exquisite piece of racing theatre. Stellar Wind on the outside, just in front. Beholder tries to come back gallantly, but Stellar Wind is just in front. A red letter day for Espinosa. Stellar Wind has beaten Beholder a neck. They were 7th clear of Vale Dory and Tara's Tango.
So Stellar Wind has done it again. The battle was joined 3/8 of a mile from home. They were on even terms, head and head through the stretch. It looked like Beholder was going to hold off the younger Stellar Wind, but Stellar Wind was able to wear down the champion mare, and Stellar Wind beats Beholder here in the Zenyatta.
And this is fair and square, because Stellar Wind, they both have equal weight. Stellar Wind was in the 3 path, while Beholder was on the inside around the first turn. She was 1 width wider, turning for home. So she ran a little bit further than Beholder. Beholder, I think, was comfortable on the lead, but it was just Stellar Wind running a better race today.
The race was everything that we hoped it would be. I thought it was fair and square the last time she beat her, even more fair and square this time. She probably spotted her maybe 2 to 3 lengths difference in distance run around the turns, and still was able to outgame her, even though at the top of the stretch, right, when Victor Espinosa went to the whip first, usually that's a sign, they blink first, and you don't know how much is left in the tank.
That's what I thought, at the time.
At that point, I thought, Beholder might have her, but she just wore her down.
I think Beholder runs as hard as she's going to run without being hit. She typically has always done that for Gary, so I really didn't believe that Gary getting into her or spanking her a couple times with a whip would help her that much. She gives you all she has anyway. I think Gary was playing a little gamesmanship early. He didn't sound like he wanted to go the lead, yet he did. So Victor was very smart, hustling Stellar Wind out of the gate so she didn't lose contact with Beholder early.
A very fast time, 1 mile and a 16th in 1:41.80. That compares to 1:43 and change for the 2-year-olds earlier that we saw in the front runner. So both these horses ran exceptionally well, and if they both come back and make it to the Breeders' Cup Distaff, add Songbird to the mix, we've got it. And maybe Beholder has lost a step.
She's 6 years old, and run a lot. She's got a lot of miles underneath her. Still a valiant effort. A great race. As you said, it's everything we wanted.
There's John Sadler, the trainer, imploring Stellar Wind on. Nice moment.
And what a nice moment all afternoon for Victor Espinosa. He won 3 of the 4 races we showed here in Santa Anita. And so Victor wins the Zenyatta to go with his victories in the front runner and in the Awesome again.
Yeah, Victor is certainly riding a tremendous several years. Chrome in 14 and then American Pharoah last year. And it looks like he's loaded in both the Distaff and the Classic this year. So
the owners, the brothers, Costa Hronis and his younger brother Pete, had a chance with Electrum, had a chance with Hard Aces, and couldn't get the money with those two. But Stellar Wind comes through for those guys. They just got into business back in 2010, and actually it was the usher at Santa Anita that suggested they hired John Sadler as their trainer. That worked out okay.
Let's go to Jay Pribman with the winning trainer, John Sadler.
And John, you were just congratulated by Richard Mandel. What did he say to you first off?
Good job. He's very gracious.
You have been very, very high on this filly because of the plan that you had. And I know that coming out of the win over Beholder last time, you think that maybe people didn't take Stellar Wind with quite as much respect as you thought she deserved. You think more so now?
When you're as great as Beholder, you're not to one race, you're not going to hold it against her. So, she's a great mare, and we've got a great mare. So, it's 2 heavyweights punching it out.
What does this say, though, about the quality of Stellar Wind and how much she's improved since a year ago?
Well, we thought she'd be a better 4-year-old. She's, the horses, these mares peak at 4, and she's just a bigger, stronger horse this year. And, she's relatively fresh, going into the Breeders' Cup with 3 starts. So we're looking forward to the Breeders' Cup right here in our backyard.
John, good luck in the Breeders' Cup.
Thank you.
Let's go to Lafitte.
All right, Jay, here with Hall of Fame jockey Gary Stevens, finishing second aboard Beholder in this Zenyatta. Gary, what went wrong out there? How was Stellar Wind able to defeat Beholder this afternoon?
Nothing really went wrong except I was on the lead and just a sit and duck once again. No pace except for me. Realistic fractions. 3/4 was 9 and change. We were running right along. I flat got outrun. I have no excuses. Carrying equal weight. Hats off to the winner. Hats off to my mare. She shows up every day, every time she comes over here. Unfortunately, 3 losses in a row, and it's tough for a champion. She's pretty special for me, and hopefully we can bounce back and get some pace in the Breeders' Cup or the stars will change or something. I don't know, but hats off to the winner today.
Are you still confident Beholder can flip the script after 2 losses to Stellar Wind and hand her a defeat in the upcoming Breeders' Cup distaff?
Yeah, both times I've ridden her, I drew the 1 hole. She was in the 2 hole. And I know that sounds like sour grapes, but I just want to change post positions. I'd like to stalk her one time and make her be my Huckleberry one time, because I've been her Huckleberry twice, and it's not a lot of fun, when you've got one sitting outside of you just targeting you the whole way. And I was doomed at the quarter pole. My mare fought gallantly, and she dug deep, thought she was going to come back inside the 16th pole, but it wasn't there.
Thanks very much for the time, Gary.
All right, Lafitte.
Good analysis from Gary Stevens as Beholder, for the first time in her career, loses her 3rd consecutive race. Here are the TwinSpires.com payouts, with Stellar Wind paying $6, Beholder 2nd, Veldori finishing in 3rd. A short-priced Exacta, $7.80 for a $2 wager. So, Stellar Wind, the 4-year-old filly by Curlin, bred in Virginia by Keswick Stables and Stone Street Thoroughbred Holdings, wins the Zenyatta on Win in Your End Day.